Two people can earn the same paycheck for 30 years and end up $1 million apart. Not because one was a genius, not because one found a secret stock, because one built systems and the other kept making small emotional decisions that felt harmless in the moment. That is the real shock about wealth. Most people still think net worth is mainly an income story. Usually, it is not. It is a behavior story. And the latest numbers make that painfully clear. Real median U.S. household income was $80,610 in 2023, while the Federal Reserve's most recent survey of consumer finances showed median family net worth at $192,900 overall. For families ages 55 to 64, median net worth was $364,500, while mean net worth was $1,566,900. Same country, same broad economy, same working lifetime, completely different outcomes. What creates that gap is not secret knowledge. It is not a better motivational quote. It is not one lucky trade. It is a pattern of decisions repeated long enough to become destiny. So in this video, I want to show you the fastest real-world ways to grow your net worth in 2026 without pretending discipline solves everything, without turning your life into a spreadsheet cult, and without talking to you like a finance textbook. You do not need to do all of this at once. But if you apply even a few of these consistently, the number attached to your name starts moving differently. And once that number moves, your options move with it. The 1% spending rule. Start here, because this is where a lot of silent financial damage happens. The 1% rule is simple. Before making a discretionary purchase that costs more than 1% of your net worth, pause. If your net worth is $20,000, that pause point is $200. At $50,000, it becomes $500. At $100,000, it becomes $1,000. This rule is not anti-enjoyment. It is anti-autopilot. Picture a Friday night. Work was annoying. You open your phone. An ad finds you at exactly the right weak moment. A jacket, a gadget, a chair, a limited drop. Whatever your category is, it suddenly feels reasonable. You tell yourself it is not a big deal. But if someone with a $20,000 net worth makes one extra $200 impulse purchase every month, that is $2,400 a year, or 12% of their net worth leaking out annually before investment growth is even considered. Over decades, that leak becomes brutally expensive. Pause for a second. This is where most people lose the plot. They think overspending happens because people love stuff too much. Usually that is not true. Most people do not overspend because they are obsessed with objects. They overspend because buying something feels easier than sitting with stress, envy, boredom, or uncertainty. Spending often works like emotional pain relief with a shipping confirmation. That is why the 1% rule matters. It inserts friction between feeling and action. And if you want one upgrade that works in the real world, layer a 7-day waiting rule on top of it. Most things that feel urgent on Tuesday feel strangely unnecessary by next Tuesday. Invest every windfall. Your tax refund hits on Friday. By Saturday, it feels like free money. By Tuesday, it is gone. That is exactly how net worth leaks. Windfalls are one of the clearest dividing lines between people who look like they are doing fine and people who are actually getting richer. Tax refunds, work bonuses, side hustle payouts, rebates, credit card rewards, inheritance money, gifts, cash from selling old stuff online, all of it counts. Most people mentally code this money as extra, which is dangerous because extra money gets spent with less resistance than earned money. A better system is simple. Spend 10%, invest 90%. So a $3,000 tax refund becomes $300 of guilt-free enjoyment and $2,700 of future leverage. If that happened every year for 20 years, and you invested the $2,700 at a 7% annual return, you would end up around $110,700. At 8%, it grows to roughly $123,500. Same refund, same person, different rule. The trick is not just mathematical, it is psychological. Do not let windfall money sit in checking. Route it straight to a brokerage account, retirement account, or a savings bucket buffer. Busts with a purpose. Money you keep seeing starts feeling available. Money that moves fast starts working before your impulses wake up. Widen the gap between income and expenses. Net worth grows from one number more than any other. The gap between what comes in and what goes out. There are only two levers here: earn more, spend less, ideally both. But in real life, people often focus on tiny expenses because tiny expenses are emotionally easier to discuss. They will debate coffee for 3 weeks and ignore a car payment that dominates the whole budget. According to AAA's 2025 Your Driving Costs Study, the average cost to own and operate a new vehicle was $11,577 per year, or about $964.78 per month. That is not just a car. That is a wealth decision rolling down the road every day. Choosing a reliable used vehicle instead of financing a new one can free up thousands a year. Keeping a paid-off car for just 3 more years can change the next decade of your investing. Housing works the same way. Travel works the same way. The biggest gains usually come from a few large decisions, not 50 tiny ones. On the income side, the most durable strategy is still skill concentration. Generic skills tend to get average pay. Specialized, revenue-linked, hard-to-replace skills tend to get premium pay. Think data analytics, software development, high-end sales, video editing, paid media buying, electrical work, niche operations, the kinds of skills companies struggle to hire for and hate to lose. Open job listings in your field. Compare the roles that pay much more than yours. Study the skill gap between them and you. That gap is often your next raise hiding in plain sight. If you remember only one number from this video, make it this one. Your wealth does not care how impressive your income sounds if your outflow keeps chasing it. Track your net worth. A lot of adults can tell you their salary within seconds, but cannot tell you their net worth within $10,000. That is a problem because what you do not measure stays abstract, and what stays abstract rarely improves. Net worth is simply assets minus liabilities. Cash, retirement accounts, brokerage accounts, home equity, business equity on one side, credit cards, car loans, student loans, mortgage debt on the other. The Federal Reserve reported that in 2023, only 48% of adults said they spent less than their income in the prior month. In other words, financial margin is already thin for a large share of people. That is exactly why tracking matters. Not monthly, in my opinion, because monthly can turn into neurotic theater. Quarterly is better. Every 3 months, update the number, watch the direction, study the drivers. Did it rise because your investments grew? Because debt fell? Because you finally stopped leaking money into lifestyle fluff? Once the number becomes visible, your behavior changes. An impulse purchase does not feel like just $180 anymore. It feels like a visible subtraction from a scoreboard you actually care about. Control lifestyle inflation. Lifestyle inflation is one of the most socially rewarded ways to stay financially stuck. You get a raise, then within weeks your life somehow expands to absorb it. Better apartment, better car, better restaurants, better subscriptions, better excuses. On paper, it looks like progress. On a balance sheet, it often looks like delay. A person earning $150,000 and spending $140,000 can be building wealth slower than a person earning $70,000 and spending $50,000. One looks richer, the other is becoming richer. This is where the psychology gets dangerous, because status upgrades rarely arrive labeled as status upgrades. They show up disguised as "I deserve this," "I worked hard," "I need something more reliable," or "this is what adults at my level do." Research led by Thomas Gilovich and colleagues has found that experiential purchases tend to produce more enduring satisfaction than material purchases. That does not mean never buy nice things. It means understand the hedonic treadmill before it understands you. The new car becomes normal. The upgraded apartment becomes background. The expensive habit becomes your new baseline. And once a baseline rises, it starts demanding income just to maintain itself. A smarter rule is this: let your lifestyle rise, but slower than your income. If income rises 10%, maybe lifestyle rises 3%. The rest goes toward assets. That is how raises turn into net worth, instead of disappearing into upgraded monthly obligations. Case study. Same paycheck, different life. Imagine two friends, Alex and Jordan. Same age, same city, same starting salary, $78,000. Alex gets raises, upgrades the apartment twice, trades in a decent car for a nicer one, spends bonuses like rewards for surviving work, and never really tracks anything except whether the checking account feels okay. Jordan gets the same raises but keeps fixed costs stable, invests 90% of bonuses, automates retirement, and checks net worth every quarter. 5 years later, both still look normal from the outside. Same restaurants, same group chats, same complaints about inflation, but under the surface, they are living in different futures. Alex feels pressure every month and tells himself he just needs a bigger paycheck. Jordan has a growing investment base, more flexibility, and less panic in every decision. That is how wealth divergence usually happens, not through one dramatic move, through invisible habits repeated while nobody is clapping. Maximize tax efficiency. This part is boring, which is exactly why it is so profitable. Taxes quietly drain wealth, but legal structures already exist to reduce that drain. In 2026, the IRS says the 401k elective deferral limit is $24,500. The regular catch-up for people age 50 and older is $8,000, and the higher catch-up for ages 60 to 63 is $11,250. The IRA contribution limit for 2026 is $7,500. For HSAs, the 2026 contribution limit is $4,400 for self-only coverage and $8,750 for family coverage. Use these accounts if they fit your situation. A traditional 401k can reduce taxable income today. A Roth IRA can create tax-free withdrawals later if you qualify. An HSA is especially powerful because it offers a triple tax advantage: deductible going in, tax-free growth, and tax-free withdrawals for qualified medical expenses. And do not overlook employer match. Failing to capture a full match is not a minor mistake. It is leaving part of your compensation unclaimed. I have seen people hunt for side hustles while ignoring free money already sitting in their benefits package. That is not hustle. That is leakage. Negotiate more than you think. Here is a quiet wealth skill almost nobody teaches well. Ask. Ask better. Ask more often. Salary is the obvious category, but it is not the only one. Insurance premiums, internet bills, medical bills, contractor quotes, phone plans, rent renewals, credit card APRs, all of these can sometimes move if you ask with enough calm persistence. Imagine two people with identical incomes. One accepts every quoted price as final. The other negotiates just a little, consistently, over 10 years. The second person is not only saving money, they are building a relationship with money that is active instead of passive. And that identity shift matters. You do not need to sound aggressive. Usually the best script is simple. I'm reviewing my budget and comparing options. Are there any promotions, discounts, or better rates available for me? That one sentence can save hundreds. Over time, hundreds become thousands. One strong salary negotiation early in a career can echo for years, because future raises often compound from a higher base. 5 minutes of discomfort can create a multi-year financial tailwind. Automate the system. Most people do not fail financially because they are lazy. They fail because they keep asking discipline to do a machine's job. Discipline gets tired. Automation does not. When your paycheck lands, money should already know where it is going. Retirement contributions, investment transfers, savings buckets, bills, extra debt payments. Remove the decision. Remove the debate. Remove the need to feel motivated. Because honestly, after a long week, most people are not going to open their bank account and make the noble long-term choice out of pure character. They're going to do whatever feels easiest. So make the smart option the default option. Set it once. Then let the system keep pulling you forward on ordinary days, stressful days, distracted days, and emotionally messy days. Wealth grows faster when good behavior is built into the architecture of your life instead of being negotiated every payday. Increase financial literacy. A single good concept can pay you for the rest of your life. Understanding compound interest changes your sense of urgency. Understanding expense ratios changes where you invest. Understanding tax brackets can stop you from making decisions based on myths about making too much. The fundamentals are not hidden. The Federal Reserve, the IRS, the SEC, major universities, and credible educators have made the basics widely available. You do not need a secret formula. You need durable understanding applied repeatedly. Learn how fees eat returns. Learn the difference between assets and liabilities. Learn why behavior under stress often matters more than intelligence in calm conditions. People with average incomes build strong net worth all the time. Not because they know everything, but because they know enough to keep making fewer expensive mistakes. Disconnect time from income. There's nothing wrong with a job. Most people start there. But jobs exchange time for money, and time has a hard ceiling. Net worth accelerates when at least some of your income is no longer tied directly to your hours. That can mean investments, equity, commissions, royalties, side businesses, dividend income, ownership in something that grows while you sleep. Even small versions matter. A side offer making a few hundred a month, a portfolio throwing off cash flow, a business stake, however modest, a product that sells twice while you are having dinner. This is not about quitting your job tomorrow and pretending entrepreneurship is easy. It is about slowly shifting part of your financial life from labor only to labor plus ownership. That is where wealth starts to feel different. Transformation. And here is what changes when these systems begin stacking. You stop buying every feeling you have. You stop treating raises like permission slips. You stop letting windfalls dissolve into random upgrades. You stop guessing whether you are progressing and start seeing it in numbers. At first, the movement is small. Then the gap widens. Then the compounding becomes visible. Then one day, your net worth stops feeling like an abstract finance term and starts feeling like breathing room. It becomes the option to leave a bad job without panic, the option to help your family without wrecking yourself, the option to take a risk, move cities, cut back, start over, or retire on your own terms. That is the real point. The day your net worth stops being a number and starts becoming freedom, money stops feeling like pressure and starts feeling like leverage. That is how wealth actually gets built in real life. Not through one dramatic move, but through dozens of smarter decisions made before they become urgent. So here's the question I want to leave you with. A year from now, will your paycheck still be running your life, or will your systems finally start building your freedom? Pick one strategy from this video, not 10. 1. Install it this week, then let that decision compound into the version of you who is no longer just earning money, but actually keeping it, growing it, and turning it into options. Thanks for watching.